There are so many exercises that can be performed on the 3-act slide because of the variety of block positions, because of the varied exercises, as we just talked about, sliding, reaching, lunging. But the exercises become even more of kind of a smorgasbord of elements when we think about what's actually contacting the surface of the board. So we just showed feet in contact with the board, but there are other elements of the body that can be in contact, and that's what lets us start getting down on the ground.
Sure. So let's start with push-ups.
Okay.
So you can either put the shoe covers on your hands like you would, but I often find that it's faster and just as effective to lay them out flat on the board and put my hands on them.
Okay.
Okay, so push-ups we know can be done a variety of different ways with a bunch of different hand placements, and I definitely like to mess around with that here on the board. And so what we're going to show you now is what I call an 11-in-1 push-up. Now this can be done with your feet on the ground here, and you're actually in real push-up position. And I'm going to slide out, do my push-up, and then slide back in.
And much more detail is going to come with these exercises when we get to the exercise library, right? The point of this is just to show the different contact points, different than just having feet in contact with the surface. Now Chrissy's got her hands. And knees, right? So those are contact points.
Right. And I think the important piece here is that we can slide without the push-up, which is still an effective work of my shoulders and core, or we can slide and add the push-up with the slide. But again, the sliding being that constant ground contact, that thing that's really important, that's engaging all those muscles.
Right, so constant ground contact, obviously we talked about it initially when feet are, sort of the contact points. But the same thing applies here. You're still in ground reaction, that's still an element here, right? You're pushing down into the ground.
Exactly. And sometimes I'm stabilizing with one hand and I'm reaching. Sometimes I use one hand without the shoe cover so that I can get different types of reaches going.
And you already talked about the effectiveness of having a point of contact, and that seems to be a key element here as well. I mean, if you were just going to slide off without having that point of stability.
Oh, it would be so scary.
Right.
I feel like there's no way that I would be able to get to that 11-in-1 push-up and pull back in safely.
Right. You have that security.
I know I have that security. Once I hit, then I can do my push-up and slide back in.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we have hand contact there, we had knee contact, we had some foot contact. There are other times that I think there's a foot and a knee going on here at the same time.
Sure. So we can do a half kneel.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about? So a half kneel position, and so I have one shoe cover on, knee either on the board or on a pad, and again I can reach, I can slide, I can almost lunge from a half kneel position. A lot of this we use for cool down and flexibility, sometimes with weights.
And again, we're right back to constant ground contact, right? The ability to sort of go. You talked about sort of flexibility here, but there's flexibility happening, but also core control. You're not falling over, right? The balance element. So combining strength and flexibility and balance, right? Just like we talked about, it's important to combine muscle groups together, but the elements of function of the body, right? Balance, strength, flexibility, all these things work together. Nothing's ever in isolation.
Nothing's ever in isolation, and one of our kind of fun chants is your butt, your core, your pelvic floor. I mean, all of that is
your butt, your core, and so much more, right?
So much going on here in all these different motions, these reaching half kneel things that we're doing.
Okay, so contact points again. We've seen 2 feet contacting, we've seen hands and feet, we've seen hands and knees. Now we just saw a foot and a knee.
How about hands and feet?
Hands and feet. Let's see what that looks like.
Okay, so sometimes we go push-up position, put shoe covers on the feet, and now we're talking about things like mountain climbers. So our feet are still doing the sliding, but with our hands on the ground.
And once again, I see you getting to the block, right? That's your point of contact. Gives you that goal, gives you that security.
Absolutely, and that back block really is crucial because it gives me the ability to hit, and then when I feel that contact, I can drop that hip, which really lengthens those abdominal muscles on my left side right now.
And that's a key thing, right? There are a lot of people out there pursuing fitness that may have some back problems and have some concerns about, letting their backs go through too much motion. But as you go through that, you really encourage people to do that hip drop or hip dip, as I've heard you call it.
Absolutely.
I can see how. Yeah, let's look at that from the side.
So this one with my pike ups for sure, it's here, but then that ability to really
Drop your hips, right?
Exactly.
And I would once again imagine that is an incredible core workout, right? Low abdominals, feeling that burn. I think too many times people just want to hold their abdominals tight, right? And clench them and not let them lengthen. They're not getting effective strengthening with that type of an approach.
Exactly. I really don't like when I hear personal training saying, okay, really squeeze that core, tighten it up. Because that's not what we're going for. We're really going for that controlled lengthening, which I promise you is getting those core muscles to really work hard.
In fact, one of the classes that is part of this curriculum is lengthen and strengthen.
Exactly, which comes for all of your muscles, including those abdominals.
Yeah, that's a huge point. All right, so lots of variety, contact points, just understanding them can help you sort of instruct your clientele to get the most effective use out of this, and just help you with that understanding that there's a lot of things that can be created on this board as long as you understand the board, the exercises, and how to have some variety with the different contact points.
Absolutely, so it is really about being able to utilize the flexibility of the block placement, being able to understand that constant ground contact theme, that ground reaction, and being creative and safe.
Yeah, and let's not forget fun.
And of course fun.